All right. Swimming with the Iconaut. Swimming with the Tudor Iconaut. I'm playing with it. My head says why. My heart says why not? My heart won out. Why should I deny this a chance to do what it's made to do? To protect its seals. Who cares about that? It's the feeling aspect. You can't overthink the service costs. They're just part of it. Trying to stretch them out, that should infringe on your enjoyment of the watch. I don't think I'll use the Casio at all. Don't need to. In the pool stream of consciousness, or whatever that was, what was I talking about? Well, I took these two watches to Thailand, and the whole idea was to take the Casio in the water and to keep the Iconaut out of the water. That was my head thinking there. That was being rational and reasonable and thinking about stretching out those service intervals. But it goes against the heart. I wanted to play with the watches in the water like toys, like little toys. And this is the moment I said, screw it. I went with the heart and I started wearing the Iconaut all the time in showers, baths, the pool, all the time. I never wore the Casio after that. And it's the difference between going with your head and listening to your head and being reasonable and rational about things like service costs and seals and looking at the practicality and the cost and all that, cerebral stuff, as opposed to going with a heart and just having fun. And I'm glad I did, because these little machines are all about having fun with. And when you overthink things, it can detract from that. So this is me listening to my heart, having fun, using the watch on the trip, making memories with it. And I'm glad I did. When I'm not doing intermittent fasting, this is a pretty amazing breakfast. All right, so the Iconaut. I've really enjoyed swimming with it, getting into the water, but some quick observations. It's a difficult watch to read. It's not very legible. The chronograph is incredibly hard to read. It could be much simpler. And the whole switching it between your time zones is very clunky, and it just doesn't work. It's not practical. So, for all of these reasons, I gotta say, it's been a disappointing travel watch overall. Now, I will say that I'm not at all worried about it. And, sometimes I see Rolex watches here. And those guys have to think a little bit more carefully about where they're wearing these watches. So, not me. Just not something I've had to think about. And that's really nice. I really appreciate that. But are there better GMTs? Absolutely. This is a jack of all trades, a king of none, and it really isn't a king of anything, because whether it's the chronograph or the size or the functions, there's some watch that does it better. But most of those watches won't do everything. Like the GMT Master 2 is the perfect travel watch. with that rotating bezel. The Explorer 2 is a close second. If it had the rotating bezel, it would be even better. But the GMT Master 2 is by far, hands down, the best travel watch. It's just perfect in so many ways. It gives you more travel functionality than you even need with the separating local and 24-hour hands and then the rotating bezel. Those combined, that's more GMT computing power than you ever need. If you want to tone that down a bit, the Explorer 2, totally, a fine watch. The way you transition your local time to the local time where you are, and then that 24-hour hand just stays put. Really easy. This watch, I mean, unless you're using the 24-hour hand as your local hour hand, it doesn't make much sense. And then, I'll explain it in another video about this. When you unscrew the crown, the first position allows you to wind the watch, okay? If you pop it out one notch, that's the second position, and you can adjust the date or the 24-hour hand. The third position, popped out two notches, hacks the watch, all right? And that's where we are right now. And so looking at the time, 21:26, all right? So 9:26. All right, so now it's back to the first position. I can wind it. Now I'm just gonna pull it out once, okay? Now you can see at the 9, that subdial, the watch is still going, so this doesn't hack the watch at all. All right, this is, I think, what you would do on the plane. If you go clockwise, then it changes the date. Otherwise, counterclockwise, it changes the 24-hour hand, which snaps into place. There, see. And this is why this watch sucks as a travel watch, because the adjustment happens with the 24-hour hand, not that local hour hand. So you're going to be using that 24-hour hand to tell the local time, and then I guess your home time back in your country will be with the regular hour hand, and that's not going to tell you AM or PM. So it's completely backwards, and that's why the Explorer 2 and the GMT Master 2 are better, because it's the local hour hand that jumps, and that's going to be great, and it's the 24-hour hand that tracks your home time. So this isn't a good travel watch. This is the kind of watch that you would use to track another time zone at home. Now, of course, you can reset everything and make sure your local hour hand is giving you your local time in Thailand and your 24-hour hand, your time in Japan, but then you're hacking the watch and you're stopping the second hand, and that defeats the purpose of a travel watch and the convenience of a travel watch. So I'll put the 24-hour hand at Japanese time. That will be right here. And I can screw down the crown. So anyway, I think I would have enjoyed the Hydronaut more. Although, again, I do like having the GMT function. I really do appreciate that. I've got it, set to Japan time. Just, we're 2 hours behind here in Bangkok. Japan 2 hours ahead. So, do you ever know a watch unless you've traveled with it? It's really interesting because, and this is shocking to me to realize it, but I've never traveled with the GMT Master 2. Never. An Explorer 2, yes. A sub, yes. But a GMT Master 2, never. Which is crazy. That's not on my resume. It's interesting because it's one thing to own watches, it's another to travel with them. And when you travel with them, you learn so much about them. I mean, I know this watch inside and out. And it's seeing it in those travel situations that really reveal itself to you, especially if you look at a watch as a travel watch. And all of my watches I look at as travel watches. That's the whole point of Oysters and Rolexes and the professional pieces, and that's what I love about them. So, viewing it in that context is integral for me. And this watch has revealed itself through that. It's something on my bucket list. I need to travel with a GMT Master 2. It's so crazy that I haven't. That brings up something. I mean, have you lived with your watches? And by lived, I mean lived, as in like taking life by the balls with your watches. And I guess when it comes to the GMT Master 2, I haven't. Isn't that interesting? You might have a collection of Rolex watches, but have they gone a damn place anywhere? Or do you just travel with your Casios? And the question is, are you living your best horological life like that? Your watches certainly are. Interesting. Food for thought. This... It's like coconut syrup. This and the sticky rice alone is enough. I don't even need the mango, but the mango is awesome. Oh, this is so good. I'm a big fan of sauces. So, we go all together. I'm so glad I don't have access to this back in Japan. This would be my vice. You gotta make your rice into a swimming pool to catch all that coconut goodness. See, this is good Haonyao Mamuang eating practices. And if some rice falls on the table, you just pick it up and eat it. That's totally okay here. Most etiquette rules go out the window when you're eating something that's good. Alright. More to come from Thailand. I did see watches, so Rolex watches on the way. Some Rolex watches that are Rolex in name only, if you know what I mean. Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you next time.